Good morning, class. Today we will be learning about laboratory safety. This relates to 6th grade science, but will be used throughout the rest of your science career. The objective of this assignment is for you to understand the scientific investigation and responsibilities that go along with it. You will be able to identify proper lab safety procedures and match the equipment with its name at the end of this assignment. Lab Safety 101. In this section, we're going to talk about what you should wear and how you should prepare yourself for lab in order to be the most safe. For attire, first of all, you should tie your hair back and secure any loose pieces of long hair that could potentially make its way onto the lab table. Just like this example, my hair is up and it is out of the way to where if I were to lean forward, the lab table would not be touched by my hair. Second, no dangling jewelry. You should have no dangling jewelry that's going to touch the table that could possibly come in contact with open flame or dangerous chemicals. Necklaces like mine are going to be fine for lab because they do not hang down far enough to be a safety hazard. Third, no loose clothing. If you were to have loose clothing or long dangly sleeves, they could potentially touch an open flame and catch on fire and risk your safety. Fourth, we're going to ask you to wear closed-toed shoes to prevent any glass or chemicals from dropping onto your feet on the floor. Fifth, you're going to wear an apron, goggles, and gloves during most labs in class. Your teacher will specify when and where to wear the gloves and apron and goggles, but they will be available in the classroom and they are there to protect you. Additional rules. You should never mix two unspecified chemicals during lab. This could result in a severe and unsafe reaction that could harm you and your classmates. Always have your teacher tell you exactly what you're supposed to be mixing and how much of those you should mix. Second, we're going to learn to waft all chemicals. This is where you hold the chemical away from your face and slowly waft the smell towards your nose. If you were to directly smell the chemical, it could be really harmful and cause irritation to your eyes or nostrils. Third, during lab, we're going to keep the talking level at a level 1. We should only be engaging in conversations between yourself and your lab partner, and occasionally your teacher if you have any questions. Next, we're going to talk about lab behavior. First, we're going to read all instructions before beginning an experiment. This is where you find out what you're going to need for the experiment and what you need to complete the experiment safely as well. Second, we're going to have the lab area clear of all objects. This includes your backpacks, your lunch kits, and any other things that could be in the way during the lab. Third, never eat or drink during the lab. No water, no snacks, anything. It could potentially react with the things we're using in lab, and it could also just be in the way. Second, we're going to talk about lab safety. You should only perform teacher-authorized tasks. You should only do things that your teacher is aware of and approved. Second, you're going to have patience when completing these tasks in order to prevent any spills or breakage, or just rushing the reaction could change the way the experiment turns out. For your cleanup procedures, you will never pour any chemical down the drain. Some chemicals need to be disposed of in a certain way in order to protect the environment and the plumbing systems at the school as well. So you should always take caution and dispose of everything the way your teacher explains. You should also notify your teacher of any spills or fires. There will be no consequences for these spills or fires. They just need to be taken care of properly. And third, you should never work or clean up alone. You should have a partner to hold you accountable and also make sure you're doing things correctly. Wrap-up rules. You should always clean your area. You should return your goggles and aprons back to their storage place and wash your hands thoroughly. Even if you had gloves on, chemicals can get on your arms and on your hands still and could cause reactions. Two different scenarios are shown here on the screen, and I'm going to ask you to read these on your own and provide feedback on what you would do in each scenario. In number 1, chemical A and chemical B are being used in an experiment, and your peer is encouraging you to mix in chemical C to see what reaction it makes. What would you do in order to comply with lab safety rules? Well, from our lesson, we know that chemical A and chemical B are the ones that we're allowed to be using, and chemical C is something that a classmate is wanting to mix in to see if it does something fun. Well, we know by lab safety rules that you should only mix in chemicals that we are authorized to use. So what would you do in this scenario? In scenario 2, Max just got a new necklace for Christmas and he is so excited to show it off to his classmates. The chain is long and it hangs down onto the desk. Do you think this necklace is safe to wear to lab? Well, we know, based on our attire rules, that a long necklace that hangs down to the desk could be dangerous and possibly interrupt our lab. So what do you think you should do? Should Max wear the necklace to lab? Next, we're going to talk about lab equipment. First, on the left-hand side of the screen is the Erlenmeyer flask. This is a flask where it is smaller at the top and widens as it goes down and creates almost a triangle shape. This is going to be used to have certain reactions done in, and it also holds chemicals. On the right side, similar, they're both made out of glass, but this one's a beaker and it has more of a wide cylinder shape. On this slide on the left-hand side of the page, there's a graduated cylinder. This is also similar to a beaker, but it's a lot slimmer and taller, but also takes that cylinder shape where it gets its name, the graduated cylinder. And on the right-hand side of the page, we have the beam balance, which is used to weigh things to find the mass of them. We will use the small scale pieces on the side to move them and see how much things weigh very precisely. Here's a poll I'm going to have y'all take. Here you will decide where you should deposit used chemicals after the use. So you'll go in and pick your answer for that. We're going to go ahead and see the answer is B, the chemical bin. Okay, next I have an interactive game for y'all to play. It's going to work better in student mode. So you're going to go through and pick your answers, and it'll slowly race your character along where you compete against your classmates. Lastly, y'all are going to take this quiz. It's going to show me what you learned from this lab and what things we need to review again. But just remember, these lab safety rules are very important and really determine your safety during lab, and it's really important that you learn these and take these seriously. I hope y'all had a great day, and I hope y'all enjoyed this assignment, and we should start looking forward to doing some labs and using these safety rules we learned.